What's up, everybody? I am Sniggenhoff, and Dios mío, we are playing Castile today. Anyways, when we left off, we just conquered all this northern territory from Tlemcen, and we were trying to decide where we want to go next. I was thinking about attacking Morocco. I was thinking about attacking Tunis, but after having a look about the world, I think we need to attack France. And I know I've just spent like the last few episodes and probably the whole series telling you how terrifying fighting France can be. But I think we might have a few advantages here. First of all, we're allied to Portugal and Burgundy, and we have enough favors with them to call them into a war. We have 18 favors with Burgundy, we have 20 favors with Portugal, and you need 10. So we have enough favors to call both of them in. Plus we have Aragon and Naples underneath us. So we've got basically the armies of 5 fairly sized nations all ready to fight. And then France doesn't have any big allies right now. They just have Scotland. These guys up here. I mean, I'm sure you know where Scotland is. Not too big, not too powerful. The Papal State, right here, and right here. Not too big, not too powerful. And Utrecht. These guys right here. Safe to say they're not too big and not too powerful. So it's going to be 5 moderately to large sized nations versus France and 3 smaller sized nations. So I think we may be able to do it. Plus, I was going to talk about this when we got to ideas, but one bonus that France gets somewhere along the way as they pick up ideas is called Elan, and it's plus 15% morale. And it can make France very terrifying to fight just straight up, or even if they have like lower numbers than you, they can end up winning a lot of battles just because they have more morale than you do. But currently, and we'll talk about more about this when we get to ideas. Currently, the French only have 1 idea, so they're not anywhere near getting their first bonus off of ideas. So if you're going to fight France and feel like you're going to need to fight France, sometimes it's much better to fight them early. So what I think we need to do is come back in here to our diplomatic feedback. We're going to stop telling our vassals to make claims on Tunis, and we're going to tell them instead to make claims on France. We're also going to make a claim or 2 on France, but the territory I actually want to conquer is the southern territory over southwestern French area over here. Because from what I understand, one way to make the electors in the HRE, which is one thing which we want to have happen so we can get elected emperor, one way that they'll like you more is if you have a land connection to your capital that borders the empire, if you're not already inside the empire. So the empire stretches all the way out to here. So if we can get up into here, it may help us in our quest to become the emperor. Plus, if we can weaken France now, they won't be as much of a problem later. So I'm going to see if there's any claims I can make on Morocco that I want to make before I call this guy back. There's not. I'm just going to call him back. I'm going to start building up a spy network on France. Nope, not counter-espionage. Build spy network. And I know I said in the last episode I was going to leave these troops over here, but I think I'm going to bring them back, especially if we're going to fight France. And yeah, let's let time run a little bit. France is making claims on us. I need these boats to come over here. Pick up troops. Do it again. I didn't do that the way I wanted to do it, but whatever. Our king has just died, which is not the worst thing in the world. Our king before was a 001. But our heir, who was just born in the last episode, she's not old enough to take the throne. So instead, our queen consort is going to take the throne. So she's a 442, but we're only going to have her until our heir turns 16, I believe. We did get a stability drop from our king dying. I'm so close to getting Admin Tech 5, and I really want to get that, especially as our institution penalty continues to tick up. So I think I'm going to leave our stability at -1 for now. We shouldn't have too much problem with it. It might be a bit of a risk, but I think I just really want to get to Admin Tech 5. Because some cool things happen when we get to Admin Tech 5. Alright, we've got our whole army back over here. Let's park them in a territory that has good supply. All of our estates things just ran out, so we can get the monarch points from our estates again. So I'm first going to do that. That puts us up to 54, and the goal is to get to 75%. We can do this, which puts us at 74%. All right, that's 74%, and then another way to bump up their influence is one to give them land. So I could give them a piece of land that is small and hope it only bumps them up like 1% and not, like 5%, something like that, to put them up above where I want them to be. Or you can go in and you can develop the provinces that they are in, which will also bump up their influence. So hopefully if I just maybe develop Sevilla twice, that'll give me to 75%. I think it's going to refresh at the beginning of the month. But until then we will, yep, there it is right there at 75%. So we can demand diplomatic support from them. They're at 58. Doing this puts them at 68. Doing this puts them at 78. And demand the administrative support from them. It makes them mad at us again. We could pay them off to make them like us again. I think it's probably that's probably fine, because we may end up making more money from the extra taxes we'll get than we would from just having the 65 ducats in our coffers right now. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. That may be wrong, but I really don't like it when the estates are misbehaving. Call a diet, and this one's going to be close. We'll recruit a minister, puts them at 79%. Again, we don't want them above 80%. And what's the cap on this? Okay, so we can demand military support and still be fine there. Having done all that, we can now take administrative tech, and we can take diplotech, which I think I will do both, even though we're paying a bit of a premium on them. If Aragon is ahead of us, or Naples is ahead of us in those techs, they'll get more liberty desire, and I really don't want them to be angry with us right now. I want to keep them underneath our thumb. Now, this is where we get to talk about my favorite part of the game, ideas. So, each nation has their own set of ideas, or at least most of them have at least a region-specific set of ideas. Like, Castile starts with Spanish ideas. I'm not sure if Aragon has Spanish ideas or if they have Aragonese ideas. Portugal, though, has Portuguese ideas, for instance. France has French ideas. Some of these little nations in here, some of them might have German ideas. Some of them might have an idea set specific to their nation. Austria has Austrian ideas, so on and so forth. And they are built into the game. So as we go through the game, we will get extra discipline for our troops, which is very good to help them fight. Extra missionary strength to help us convert things faster. An extra colonist for, colonizing. More papal influence to make the Pope happy. Better provincial trade power modifier. More sailors and heavy ship combat ability to make our, navies better. And then also yearly prestige. So as we progress through the game, these are the bonuses that are built into the game for us. And also once we finish all this, we'll get global settler increase, which also has to do with colonization. How we unlock these, however, is also how we customize our nation. So these are set. You can't change these at all. It just depends on which nation you pick at the beginning of the game. The idea groups, however, you get to pick yourself. So there are what is that, 6? There's 18 different idea groups that you can pick from. And they come in 3 different categories: administrative, diplomatic, and military. And each, when you pick a category, each node in that category, and there's 7 nodes, costs 400 of that type of monarch point. So if you take an administrative idea group, it's going to cost 400 for this one, 400 for this one, 400 for this one, so on and so forth. So it's really good to either take one of these, one, when you're really ahead in a tech, or 2, when you don't care about teching up in that group for a little while, or you have a big surplus of one type of monarch point, like we do in military power right now. So there's a couple ways we could go here at the beginning. I wouldn't say any idea group is bad. There's some that are certainly better than others. Maybe naval ideas is kind of bad. Navy in this game doesn't do too much, other than like you just spam out your trade boats. Espionage ideas, a lot of people think is bad, but it also has some uses. There's some fun things you can do with it. Same with maritime ideas. Again, Navy just isn't all that great, but the rest of them certainly have their individual uses. A few ways we could go. One, if we were playing a normal Castile game, I would probably go for exploration ideas. This is what allows us to, 1, send colonists out to uncolonized parts of the world, which we can't see any right now. 2, send explorers out to reveal these tiles that we can't see, both the sea tiles and then the bordering coastal provinces. And then 3, give us more range to send out colonists and an extra colonist, and allow us to fabricate claims on things that are in overseas regions, things like that. Colonization in this game, 1, is, I think it's really fun. 2 is also a very good way to get powerful instead of fighting really hard land wars here in Europe. You can instead go abroad and get super powerful, which is what, Portugal, Castile, France, England, they did in actual real life history, and the Netherlands, but they won't come along for a little while. Instead of like fighting each other here on the mainland, they went off to the other parts of the world and fought proxy wars with each other there, essentially. So if I was doing a normal Castile game, I would probably go for this. But our goals really don't focus on colonization. Instead, we're trying to become emperor. So we kind of want to build up our base here on the mainland. So another thought I have is possibly going diplomatic ideas, because the act of becoming emperor focuses a lot on diplomacy. You need people to like you. You need, a lot of times, one of the strategies is to ally all the electors so that they like you more. And this gives you an extra diplomat, so you can get more people, you can improve relations with more people, an extra diplomatic relations, so you can ally more people. Cost reducing war exhaustion is nice, although it doesn't really factor into what I'm trying to do. It lets us improve relations faster. It gives us higher diplomatic relations so that people like us more just off the bat. Lets us take more from more in a war deal. The provinces are cheaper to take, and also reduces the cost of diplomatic technology. And then at the end of it, when you finish all 7 of them, you get this extra bonus. It lowers the impact on stability from diplomatic actions, which we haven't really talked about, but like if I was to, say, go and break one of our royal marriages right now, I don't want to click the button, but like it'll cost us stability, make our stability go even lower. But if you take diplomatic ideas, you can negate that by finishing the idea group. So if I was going to go a diplomatic group, that would probably be the one I would take. I don't love taking administrative groups early, even though there are some very good ones, because if you take it early, it kind of halts your expansion early, because you're having to choose either between spending points on these ideas or spending points on coring territory that you take. Although we do have a way around that, because we're going to be feeding almost all the land we take to Aragon at the moment. So an administrative group may not be terrible. Humanist is quite good. It makes territories you conquer less likely to rebel, essentially. And then also, when you get the full thing for the rest of the game, your ideas are 10%. Idea cost is 10% less. So like taking it early is really, really good to make you spend much less monarch points throughout the course of the game. Administrative is nice as well. It saves you. It makes coring cheaper on your administrative points. I'm a fan of economic ideas just because money isn't the end-all be-all of things, but also you do need money at times. Otherwise, you're going to run into some situations. Depending on what part of the world you're in, religious ideas can be very good because you can get this first idea is Deus Vult, and it allows you to just declare war on anyone around you who's either a heretic or a heathen without having a claim on them. You can just go to war with them. It's really, really good not having to spend that time. But I'm kind of, since we have such a surplus of military points, now we will be taking military tech essentially on January 1st, which currently it's going to cost 718 points. But this is going to go down to, essentially it's going to get 10% cheaper because it's going to go down to -5 at the turn of the year. So it's probably going to go down to like 630, something like that. But we would have enough for one idea left over right off the bat, and we would be ahead on military tech for 13 years. So like all that stacked up together makes me want to go a military idea group, which would be good because we're about to go to war. As for military idea groups, I really like offensive, defensive, and quality. Those are like the three ones that I take the most. Offensive, you get better generals and better like faster sieges essentially, plus some discipline, which discipline is again very, very good. I haven't really covered it in battles, but the higher discipline is never a bad thing to have. The higher your discipline goes, the more likely, the more bonuses you're going to have in a battle. But having the better generals and then the faster sieges, just the two of those two combined, is very, very nice. Defensive, the main reason to take defensive is this plus 15% morale of armies right here, which again is very, very good. And if you end up fighting a defensive war, the bonuses you get from this are very nice. Although, when you're playing against the computer, it's less likely you're going to be fighting a defensive war. Mostly you're going to be fighting, even when they declare war on you, you're likely going to be pushing into their territory pretty often. Quality is also just fantastic. Your infantry fights better, your cavalry fights better, and your cannons fight better. You do have these 3 ship-related ideas in the middle here, which are kind of unfortunate, but infantry combat ability is fantastic. Cavalry combat and then artillery combat later in the game is also incredible. Plus, you get extra discipline for finishing quality ideas. Quantity can be good, but having a larger army means you need a larger economy, and like right now we're losing money having our troops fully funded as it is. And if you were to add an extra 10% troop total on top of it, it would get, or 10%, silly me, 50% troop total on top of it. It would get kind of out of hand pretty quick. So I think quantity can be good, but I think it's really good if you pair it with economic and then also one of the, like either offensive or quality later on in the game. I kind of want to go quality right now. Getting the infantry combat ability right off the bat for this war we're about to fight with France seems really good. And the extra discipline eventually. And then possibly for our next idea group, we could go diplomatic as we're getting closer to the HRE. So I'm going to go ahead and pick quality. Sorry if that was a long and drawn out explanation of everything. But then I'm going to go ahead and take the first little note on it, because I could take 2, but I only want to take 1 because I'm about to take the tech. And then for every idea you take in an idea group, this meter ticks up, and for every 3 ideas you take, you get 1 of these big nodes. So once we take these first 3 ideas here, we'll get the extra discipline that we get from just being Spain, or Castile having Spanish ideas, if that all makes sense. Having said all that, trying to think if there's anything else I need to do. No, let's go ahead and let the game run for just a little bit. I'm not bumping up my stability. Actually, I'm going to bump up my stability because I just took admin tech. And I'm currently focused on admin. Once we're done, once we can refocus in 1480, we'll probably end up refocusing on military, because either we're going to be still finishing up the military idea group, or we'll be maybe slightly behind in tech from doing the military idea group. And that's one of the reasons why I like ideas, is just because, it forces choices on you. Like, do I worry about tech? Do I worry about getting the ideas? Which one do I feel is more powerful for me at the moment? And plus, it allows you to specialize your country. Like, you could have an Ottomans run where you go fully colonial and you're super peaceful and you're just trying to colonize the world. Now it'd be kind of hard because it's you have to get out to where you'd be able to colonize certain places, but still it allows you to do all sorts of crazy things with your country, really, and ahistorical and fun things. Also, I'm going to go ahead and start improving relations with some of these electors. Right now, they don't want to elect me as... they really don't want to, because I have a female ruler, and I don't think they have taken the... There's a reform they can pass that lets females be emperor, but currently they don't have it. Also, we're above 50 papal influence, and there's a few things we can do with papal influence. One, we could spend 5 papal influence to give us more chances of becoming the next pope. Although currently we have no chance. Currently, the best chance is that the pope keeps it. Talk about this here in a second. But I think it's like having a bishop from your nation be the pope is valuable and beneficial, but I think it's more beneficial to take these blessings, in particular this one right here. But you can spend 50 papal influence, which currently we have 62 that we've been building up, and you can get national tax modifier, your legitimacy if your legitimacy is dipping low, which can be a problem. Right now, our legitimacy is going down because we have a queen regent instead of an actual ruler. Yearly inflation reduction and lower interest if you have a bunch of loans. Extra diplomatic reputation can be very good. Diplomatic reputation, it comes in valuables of 1, so it's like 1, 2, 3, or -1, -2, -3. And just the more you have, the more people like you just before you even do anything, essentially. Yearly prestige, again, pretty good. The higher prestige you have, the more morale of armies you have. But the one I'm going to take is spend 50 papal influence and gain 1 mercantilism. Now, a lot of these are temporary. Like, this one lasts until 1485. This one lasts until 1485. This one lasts... Yeah, all of these are temporary. This mercantilism you can gain is permanent. And what mercantilism does is it affects trade. So we were at 10%, now we're at 11%. And it gives us extra provincial trade power and better embargo proficiency. So, like... we're better embargoing our rivals, which we've been doing, and also it makes our provinces that are good at trade even better at trade, essentially. And it's a permanent bonus, which is the why I like taking it. But we do have this event that just popped up. And many of the everyday occurrences in the life of our queen consort regent and her predecessors has become the subject of ceremony. Being able to attend the bedroom of the ruler she dresses, for instance, is considered to be the best way to gain the ear of the queen consort regent. An elaborate court life will certainly limit the power of our nobles to plot against us in their countryside properties, but it could also provide quite expensive, denying them the right to be part of the daily life of our queen consort regent. Entirely, on the other hand, would also limit their influence, but the nobility would likely resent it. So we can keep it at a modest level, their access to the queen while she's dressing, and the nobility's loyalty drops by 10. We can spend 125 ducats to make it an elaborate and lengthy ceremony for the most influential. So we spend 125 ducats. We lose 10% national taxes for 15 years, which isn't great. We do gain some extra prestige and possible advisors. Nobility gains a ton of loyalty and 15 influence. Thankfully, the recruited general modifier just fell off of the nobility, so we do have room to give them that influence. But also, I don't love paying that much and losing the taxes. Or we can lose 5 influence, or lose 5 prestige. They lose 15 loyalty and 10 influence. I think I'm just going to have them lose 10 loyalty. It makes them disloyal again, which isn't fantastic, but I don't want to lose all this money, and I definitely don't want them to do that. So we're going to do that. They're mad at me again, as has been the case for most of the game, but it's alright. People want to hire condottieri, a bunch of small countries. And I'm kind of just waiting till I can get this first claim in France. I also want to see if Aragon still has claims on me and on nobody else. I really want them to fabricate claims up here or down here. They're not doing that. The new year has passed by, and we can take military tech 6, which we will now do. So once we take this, we're going to be 13 years ahead on military tech. So right now it's 130% extra if we were to try to get military tech 7 right off the bat, which is a lot. And it's going to basically, once again, tick down. So the fact that we taking a military idea group right now is really good, because we essentially have 13 years worth of military points that we can spend on military ideas without feeling bad about it, essentially. We have a free diplomat. I'm going to improve relations with more electors. Again, we're not going to get elected right now because we have a female, but in the future, when we have a male on the throne, hopefully that will allow us to get in there. Going to fabricate a claim on France. And I want to see if France has picked up any new allies. No, they have not. You know, I just sent this guy out, but I actually want to come back. I want to see what it would look like if we declared war on France right now. We're likely not going to take this province that I fabricated on. I want these provinces so we can get that land connection to the Holy Roman Empire, and so we can feed them to Aragon. Because again, eventually we're going to be able to integrate all of Aragon for free without having to pay any points for it. So like, these are the provinces I want, so we're probably going to end up paying some diplomatic points for them. But that's kind of the way it goes. Currently, Portugal would not join because it's a distant war, and I have negative diplomatic reputation, and that is because I recently incorporated Navarra, which gives you a little bit of negative diplomatic reputation. So, when does that modifier fall off? 1468. So in 2 years, Portugal will most likely be willing to join, because my diplomatic reputation is going to go back up by 3. So I think I'm probably going to have to wait 2 years to do that. Hopefully France doesn't get a big, powerful ally in that time span. But it will give us a chance to build our manpower back up, get some coffers, nice little war chest going. I can recruit one more troop. I also am over the limit on boats. So Portugal has insulted me. So I can either say we won't forget this and we gain a diplomatic insult reason to go to war against Portugal, which I don't really want on my ally, or I can just try to use the tension and make them like us more, make Aragon like us more, make France like us more. I don't really want France to like us more, but this is fine. I can also build some buildings at the moment. Ooh, I can build barracks, which are really nice. Barracks increase the manpower in a territory, and manpower, by increasing the manpower cap, it not only increases like the cap, but it also manpower ticks back at a percentage of your cap. So raising the cap also raises how much manpower you get back per month, if that makes sense. So I think I might build a few of these. There and there seem really good. Having manpower is really nice. It allows you to wage much longer wars. I'm going to send this guy back to Bohemia. Bohemia would accept an alliance right now. I don't want an alliance right now, but they would accept it. And with that, we're likely going to call it an episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Tell me about your favorite puns involving countries. Like, the easy ones are Hungary, but if you can come up with a Wallachia pun, I'll be very impressed. That's for sure. Also, follow me on Twitter at Sniggenhoff. That's SNIGENHOFF. And you guys have a great day, and I'll see you later.